go into the products, but I always look at your reserve spirits. I start off with that because that to
Rumour has it you're one of our best customers.
I am actually. You even once sent an angel with them. No, it's a pleasure, and it's such a fantastic suite of whiskies you got.
Yeah.
Plus 67%. I mean, we had a triple-digit gain not too long ago. Big gains. I know it started from a low base, but it seems to me to be sending some kind of signal to us.
Yeah, look, it's becoming more meaningful.
Yes.
And that's part of the strategy. If you think about that kind of 6-point strategy,
Yes.
one of the points is to win in reserve in every market.
Yeah.
And you kind of think at the start of that strategy, well, why are you bothering with that? Why don't you make it a 5-point strategy rather than a 6-one? But then 2 years down the line, it starts to get more interesting because the base is so much bigger. And I talked before about East Africa is our turf. Right?
Yes.
We've been here for 92 years.
That's right.
I think that we could be accused of sleeping at the wheel or being complacent if we're not taking a strong leadership position in there, given how well we know the market, how well we know the consumers, our presence in terms of our kind of structure, our routes to the market, our depots, our offices, all of the things that we've got mean that this is something that we can build into our product offering in a much easier way than a new company coming in and setting up from new. And therefore we've got much more of a right to win in that area. Yes. And it would be remiss of us to not be developing that. Well, I hope so. There are, I can argue against my own strategy, right? So I can say, but you've got so many things you're working on. You've got all these brands, you've got all these markets. It's a relatively small part of your business. This is kind of small for you, whereas another player, French company or Dutch or whatever, because they're so focused, they can make more traction. So if I were a small company, I would be arguing differently. But from our position, we're looking to win and win big in there.
And just staying in that spirits continuum, because am I wrong in saying that EABL was slightly counter-trend to Diageo because it was a much bigger beer company a few years ago, and spirits now is a big growth curve but relatively recent phenomenon? Am I wrong?
Yeah. So look, EABL I think is about the biggest beer business in the Diageo world. We're one of the biggest businesses from a beer perspective in the Diageo world. And therefore, for Diageo, for EABL shareholders, it is important that we win in beer. Yes. Important. And we will never neglect beer. And as you can see there, some of the growth rates in beer, I think, are quite impressive. So winning in beer, growing beer is important for us. By the same token, as just described with reserve spirits, there is an opportunity here as East Africa modernises and develops. East African consumers will want to access international premium spirits because that's what happens everywhere in the world. People get interested in that stuff. Just like they get interested in Jaguars and smartphones and stuff. They will get interested in products in these categories, and therefore it is a big shareholder opportunity for us. And we've got a strong leadership position in beer, and we want to develop a strong leadership position in spirits as well.
If I can just tag back to spirits, because we were looking at the top end, you've been highly effective in what I would call, well, I don't know, what do you characterise it? The mass market. Jekyll, gin.
So we would call that emerging or value.
Emerging and value spirits. Are you seeing similar type of traction in there?
Yeah, look, our growth has been satisfactory. Has been one that we've been very happy with. It's not a focus area for us. However, it is an area where is becoming much more meaningful for us, partly because the EABL name is really well trusted in the marketplace, and because we've got other brands in our portfolio. We're going into these outlets, and we're seeing, brands from kind of small producers with variable quality, and there's an opportunity for us there to capture revenue and do it with decent margins. So we've been growing in those areas. It's an area that we think about quite a lot, about how to focus the organisation and where we want to win. And at the moment, it's somewhere that we're very happy to capture that growth alongside the growth that we're seeing elsewhere.
Let me go back to beer. It's an iconic story. EABL, Tusker Lager. I go all over the world sometimes, and you see that Tusker, and you feel proud.
Absolutely.
And I think you described it as, what was the two things about Waraji you said? It's got equity. I think you were describing, and I think that's got it.
Yeah.
That's still the iconic brand, right? That's still the big piece
Absolutely.
of the revenue.
Yeah.
And then you've added all these other iterations, new beers. Do you want to talk us through what's going on in your beer world?
Yeah. So look, I think probably there's four things going on. First of all, we are seeing a growing demand from consumers for more premium products.
Premiumization.
So 100% malt products, more differentiated from a taste perspective that you would say that Guinness is, more premium offerings and expressions. And we're kind of working to make sure that we capture a good share of that. So, for instance, we've just relaunched Tusker Light.
Yes.
We're looking at other innovations, either as brand extensions, like, for instance, Serengeti Platinum that we've launched in Tanzania, or new to world brands. So premium beer is in demand from consumers, and you kind of get that, right? As kind of people feel a bit wealthier, they are wealthier. They trade up.
You saw this a lot in Asia, but I remember you telling me that the speed was not happening as quickly as you'd seen it in Asia.
Yeah, look, I've got to be careful about what stuff I'm telling you, right? Because you keep on repeating it back to
but
me.
I remember these things.
Yeah,
so I was just curious.
Look, I think that getting back into the cultural point that we were talking about before, I think that EABL has got to be a company which kind of acts like an owner. It looks for opportunities for business development, and it acts on them. So just like kind of turning off a TV when you leave a room, if there is consumer demand there, first of all, you should be looking out for it, and then secondly, you should be doing something about it. And I think one of the things that we could accuse or we could criticise ourselves for is that we haven't been mindful enough about how the market is moving, and we haven't done enough about it. So our innovation program has been a bit sleepy, really. We haven't done very much, right? So now we're trying to really understand the way that consumer demand is moving, the way that the market opportunities are opening up, and getting in there early. So one of the things you're seeing is a growth in premium sector of the beer market. I think we're kind of catching up with the demand that's already there. So premium beer is an area of real interest for us. RTDs again is another area.
That was a big
number,
so 50-something.
59%. Yes. So RTDs again.
What's coming into RTDs? Is that Smirnoff Ice?
Smirnoff Ice, Snap, Smirnoff Double Black and Guarana. And there will be some more products coming into that sector as well.
Is that more targeted towards women, or is that just my?
I could take you to a couple of bars with big burly guys who are drinking that, and I could say this guy thinks you're drinking a woman's drink. See how far you'd get on there.
Promising that against that bar near your office.
But look. I think it is absolutely true that women drink in that category, and by the same token, men also consume RTDs. I think RTDs offer a different experience to beers, and the taste profile is very important in that space. So RTDs are benefiting from some work we've been doing on price, some work we've been doing on liquid, and some work we've been doing on innovation. And then into mainstream beer, we've got what we call our core mainstream brands. So Tusker, Bell, Serengeti. We've got other brands in that space as well. So we've got Belosi, we've got others. I'll remember Whitecap. And what
a lot of people feel that you don't distribute Whitecap enough. I see that on social media.
Right.
I find it difficult to
do. So what we're doing on mainstream is we're trying to make sure that our marketing monies are well spent to develop the brand health of the brands. And let me give you an example. In Kenya, we ran an activity called Tusker Project Fame for several seasons. And when it started out, it was new and different. And it did some really good work for us. And then in the last couple of seasons that we ran it, it was still interesting. People watched the TV show and stuff. But because it was Tusker Project Fame and it had been running for several years, the Tusker support just became a little bit generic.
Yes.
And it was having less impact for us. So last year and this year, we haven't done Tusker Project Fame. We've given it a rest. And
so you've made some marketing calls, basically.
So what we do with our marketing activity is we evaluate past activities, and activities that have had high impact, we think, okay, we'll do more of those, or maybe spend more in that area. And activities that have had low impact or no impact, we try and stop. And I think on our core mainstream brands, we'd got into a position where we were spending money, but it wasn't having a lot of effect for us. So what we're now doing is we're revising our marketing programs, and we're looking to redirect the money into areas where it'll make our brands more vibrant, more relevant to consumers, more dynamic and more energetic. And we expect that the dividend from that will be a performance dividend, where we'll get those brands back into good levels of growth. I've kind of talked about our mainstream brands as being okay performers. No real disasters in there, Ali Khan. No real kind of nightmare performance. They're okay. But we're not an okay company. We're a good or great company. And therefore, what I'm looking for those brands is to move them from okay to good. And then once we get to good, I want them to move to great. And I think that when we do that, we'll see the performance. The other thing is, they've got heritage and local pride, right? And whenever I talk to Kenyans about, wouldn't it be great for Tusker to be as appreciated in North America or in the UK as it is by Kenyans, people kind of light up and get excited by that. And I want the brand to be as internationally recognised as some other brands are.
You've got a big market in North America. There are plenty of Kenyans there to be your ambassadors. Yeah.
So I think our brands have got great potential in East Africa. And then in the same way that some international brands come and try and do business in my backyard, I'm going to take our brands to their backyard.
Well, we can guess where you're going then.
Why not?